Hey everybody, hope we're doing well. Welcome back to the episode of CS News. Sorry, my voice is still a little raspy for all of you, so if you don't like that, please click away. Time markers are always down below if you guys want a special story. But first off, our first story today will be about the ESL Pro League Finals, the All-American Final, our first big tournament All-American Final since ESL Cologne when SK Gaming took on Liquid. SK Gaming returned here at the ESL Pro League Finals. This time not Liquid though, it was Cloud9 who were there facing off against. Obviously here in this matchup, SK Gaming the heavy favorite, not only being the hometown favorite, but the #1 seed here in the tournament because Navi and Virtus Pro were not there. I'll talk about that later on, guys. I'm not going to negate the victory here, but a quick spoiler for all of you, Cloud9 did manage to take down SK in a best-of-3 series, which was split 2-1, but not even a close series in my own eyes. If you guys did watch map 1 on Overpass, that was SK's pick, but Cloud9 went to an amazing 13-2 lead in the first half, and yes, in North American fashion, they blew that 13-2 lead and lost in overtime. I believe the final score was 19-16 or 19-17 there. SK took that first map in a devastating fashion. You would think right now Cloud9's got to be feeling after that first map, oh, it's got to be over, you know, a devastating blow like that. We had the map, and now we go on to our own pick, but still a strong map for SK Gaming. Obviously, SK Gaming, one of the strongest map pools in the professional scene right now, but it was Cloud9 who dominated the rest of this series. It was not even close the whole way through. Map 2 was Mirage, Cloud9's pick. They beat SK here 16-6. All of these players looking amazing. Obviously, Stewie 2K and Autimatic going off. I'll talk about that later on as well. We go on to map 3, Dust 2. Still a strong map pool for SK, but obviously Cloud9 looking amazing throughout this entire tournament, but especially in these finals moments. This is a Cloud9 performance I have not seen in a long time. I'm not sure if SK lacked here, but Cloud9 just went off. 16-5 the final score there on Dust 2, a map that was really not even close at any point in time here. Again, Autimatic actually got the HLTV MVP medal. We'll talk about this later on, as if you guys did watch on Twitch live streams, we had pay safe cards, a very sketchy advertisement here, very cringy commercials they had. They actually announced their MVP on the grand stage, on the actual finals there on the stage. They announced their MVP was actually SK Gaming's very own Fallen. A really rigged outcome there, as many of you guys know, SK Gaming did not even win the tournament. Usually the MVP does belong to the tournament winners. And so HLTV came out with their Zowie MVP medals, and this is one that actually matters. This goes to Autimatic from Cloud9. Really deserving there. He had an amazing actual last game, and especially the entire tournament. If you guys look at his last series for SK Gaming, across those 3 maps, he had 70 frags. Insane amount of frags there. You know, besting any of his teammates by at least 10 frags there, but all of Cloud9 looking amazing, besides maybe Skadoodle there. I won't talk about that right now. With a little more importance here, and Cloud9 took not only the biggest prize pool for a North American team in a long time, and the biggest title in a long time for a North American organization, but also the largest prize pool and largest title of the Cloud9 CSGO organization's history. And very last, I don't want to talk about the negated victory of Cloud9 here. Obviously an easier path than most teams, but either way, if you're going to go off the main argument that Virtus Pro and Navi weren't in the tournament, then pretty much anyone who won the tournament was going to have an easy road, and you can really negate that victory as, oh, ESL Pro League Finals, Navi, Virtus Pro weren't there. Not really important, you know, not a top tier finish here, but Cloud9 obviously got very lucky in the quarterfinals, the North American matchup versus Optic Gaming. They swept them though very dominantly. Then beating Mouse Sports, you know, Thorn went off and said Mouse Sports has had a really lousy 2016, but the last month or so, this Mouse Sports lineup is a powerful lineup, you know, and again, Cloud9 looked dominant against them, swept them as well. That's 2 sweeps, quarterfinals and semifinals, and they go on to play against SK Gaming and pretty much sweep them. You know, they had map 1 in the bag and then dominate all the way through those last 2 maps. I think Cloud9 had a great performance here and a great victory as well. Now we could argue, you know, maybe the other side was a little bit harder, but still NIP envious. I mean, what kind of matchups are those? Again, very easy matchups for SK to have against the NIP lineup that they did, you know, go to map 3 against as well. So, you know, I think Cloud9 in their performance as of right now could have taken down Envious. They could have taken down NIP. And for all of you tier 2/tier 3 or at least lower tier team fans out there, we had the biggest tournament arguably of the year for these guys, the ESWC, the Esports World Convention, otherwise known as the Electronic Sports World Cup, going on this past weekend, and it was alternate Attax and LDLC in the grand finals there. But I briefly want to talk about the amazing talent we had here and also some faltering teams. As many of you guys know, in the last week's episode of CS News when I talked about ESWC, and I really hyped this up as a great tournament, unfortunately teams like Millennium, where we had Maniac, the former MVS coach, obviously he was actually kicked from his last roster as well with alongside Headshot. He actually joined that Millennium roster there for a short amount of time, and they actually placed, I believe, almost dead last alongside Cadian's team, Rogue, and even worse than this, guys, we had teams like ENCE Esports didn't even make it out of that group stages. Obviously, a lot of people heard about Juho leaving that ENCE roster. A lot of people assumed after, seeing tweets like this about the disappointing performance they had here at ESWC, that was probably the main reason why he left that roster. So ENCE Esports really struggling, but other teams incredibly, you had great top tier talent here, or at least of the lower tier teams, we had great tier talent here, Gamut Gaming, Space Soldiers, Heroic, Tricked Esports, so many great teams here, which I expected to do a lot well, especially that Heroic roster, that Danish roster there, a team who has performed in the upper tier leagues, came down to this ESWC tournament and did not do too well. So I want to talk about teams like Epsilon as well, who got destroyed by random teams like Platinum Esports, a very, very random tournament here, which you would not expect to see the results like this. But in the finals, it was LDLC versus Alternate Attax. Alternate Attax, the team who looked dominant throughout the entire tournament long. LDLC, obviously, Existence's new team there, a couple months new for that roster, but still looking quite well throughout the entire tournament as well. But it was Alternate Attax who beat LDLC 2-1 in that best of 3 series. When they dropped that map to LDLC, that was their first map loss of the entire tournament. They went 10-1 throughout the entire tournament. So really cool to see them. They're performing very well. They also have qualified for the PGL minor for that European region upcoming this actual next week for that offline qualifier. So did LDLC. We're going to have actually a big tournament there. As many of you guys know, I talked about the PGL minor for the Asian region there a couple days ago. I'm going to have corrections for that in the next story here for all of you guys, but still a big tournament coming up as well. That Alternate Attax looking great as of right now, but they're going to be playing off against teams in the PGL minor for the European region. It's going to be the most competitive region so far. Obviously only a couple of those teams can actually go. 2 of these teams can go to the offline qualifier. So we'll have teams like Alternate Attax, LDLC, ENCE, Epsilon, Godsent, Heroic, all the teams that they beat here today, or at least kind of beat because they played against other teams and didn't make it that far. They will be there at the European qualifier as well. So it's going to be really cool to see if Alternate Attax can actually qualify for the offline qualifier and see if we can actually see them in a major for the first time ever. And quickly, I do want to say yesterday's episode, guys, I had a crazy weekend. I was very tired and exhausted. And so when I listed off the teams for the PGL Asian minor, yes, it was actually last year's results. When I first pulled it, I had different screenshots and I said, wait a second, that's different from what I actually pulled. I usually pull screenshots the day before, and I actually, for yesterday's story, I pulled screenshots the day of, and they actually were different from each other. So I originally had the right teams and I changed them to the wrong teams. So for all of you guys, here are the results on screen right now. I still got the same results as Tyloo and Renegades, conveniently for me, actually qualified last year as well through the Asian minor. So Renegades and Tyloo will be our team at the offline qualifier for the next major through the Asian qualifier here, as they beat out teams like MVP Project as well as CyberZen as well. So, it was no surprise here to see that our top 4 teams, like I said before in last week's episode, were MVP Project, CyberZen, Tyloo, and Renegades. Luckily though for Renegades, they actually had to play Tyloo early on because CyberZen beat Tyloo early on in the quarterfinals, and then Tyloo fought themselves all the way back from the losers bracket, beat CyberZen there, and then actually beat Renegades in the final as well. So Tyloo and Renegades will be our 2 teams competing at the offline qualifier from the Asian region. So congrats to them. They're still looking very strong. I'm going to be really curious to see how Renegades does in our next tournament we talk about, which is iBuyPower Masters. So a really quick update for all of you guys for iBuyPower Masters. The 8 teams on screen right now. I do want to talk about Cloud9's reign. Now, a lot of people are thinking, Cloud9 can celebrate this victory for a long amount of time. You are incorrect. This is actually the height of their season right now, and a lot of important tournaments before the E-League major, including the iBuyPower Masters. If you guys do not know, the top 4 finishers here, there's only 8 teams here, Renegades being one of them. They're in a separate group from Cloud9. I'll show you guys the groups on screen right now. Cloud9 got very lucky. And how they got lucky is they got placed with groups like Flipside Tactics, Echo Fox, and Tyloo. Tyloo probably the only other team there that can actually compete with Cloud9. Now, I'm not sure right now the format. If it is best of 1, obviously anything can happen, but Echo Fox, a team that Cloud9 has dominated all season long, especially throughout ESL Pro League. Flipside Tactics, besides maybe ESL Cologne, the top 8 finish there, a team that, we thought was going to grow into a great team, but it's certainly fallen off the map, and Tyloo obviously don't really know what to expect from them against Cloud9, so probably Tyloo and Cloud9 out of groups. But again, Cloud9 only has to make out a group stage to actually qualify for IEM Oakland. So a team who's not only favorited to make out a group stages pretty easily, but also favored probably to win this tournament. So I'm not really worried about Cloud9 here, but it'd be a very, very fatal flaw if they go from an ESL Pro League Final Championship Grand Finals against SK Gaming there, the largest prize pool victory ever, and then lose a pretty easy tournament for them, the iBuyPower Masters, also a home tournament for them. We have seen this before though. It was just last week we saw Epicenter Finals. We saw Dignitas, the biggest prize pool of their tournament history, their organization history, and then they go on ESL Pro League and they fail to make out of group stages. So we have seen this before, guys. Hopefully Cloud9 can keep this luck going and keep this skill going as well. They also have avoided good teams though. They avoided FaZe Clan. They also avoided Immortals in the other group draw. TSM, an arguable team there that Cloud9 could easily take down, but still, they avoided some good groups here. Obviously with Immortals, they've gone back and forth all season long, so they have a great group for this tournament, and hopefully we'll move out of group stages as well. But also, kind of ironic here, we do have iBuyPower Masters, obviously the name of the tournament. They are bringing back some of the old iBuyPower players. That is both Dazed. He's been on many events, as many of you guys saw throughout ESL Pro League. He'll be back on the commentating desk, and also Steel. I have never seen Steel on the analyst desk so far. I'm not sure if I missed him at certain tournaments, but they'll also be bringing back Steel, one of those former iBuyPower members, for the analyst desk for this tournament. So welcome back to the desk, you two. Hope it's going to be a great tournament, and again, an American favorited tournament here. So hopefully Cloud9 can move on, maybe see Immortals as well, but best of luck to all these teams. This will be happening this upcoming weekend. And also some short news for all of you guys. Machine, who's been on the analyst desk throughout the entire ESL Pro League Finals, also a very common face in CSGO if you guys have not seen him throughout many tournaments in the past, especially for ESL events, because, you know, little did I know, and many of you guys probably didn't know this either, he's actually an ESL employee. So Machine, as of last night, guys, he is no longer an ESL employee, and he is now a freelance analyst guy. Now, I hope a lot of tournaments are going to recruit this guy. He's been doing a great job so far, obviously well liked in the community as well. He is no longer an ESL member or an ESL employee there, so congrats to him. Best of luck on your freelance work. Probably a nerve-wracking thing going off a salary to now, you know, going from tournament to tournament, but I certainly know his talent is wanted everywhere, guys. And I do want to apologize, guys. Again, this last weekend was kind of crazy, obviously being Halloween weekend, so I did go out and I yelled a lot on live stream, so thank you all for your great support. I do plan on live streaming tonight as well, so please stay tuned on YouTube for that. I know you guys are saying, Jake, why do you live stream CSGO? You suck at it. I just love talking to you guys. I love being able to have an audience, so if you guys want to stay tuned for that, please do. But the reason why I suck at CSGO is I have not been playing it a lot lately, and I have a special series planned for all of you. If you guys stay tuned on live stream, I'll give you hints at that, but trust me, I will not be getting good at CSGO anytime soon because I'll be taking a long break from playing CSGO, not CSGO news. I'm going to be taking a long break from playing CSGO quite shortly here as well for a very particular reason. It's a great reason, and I have a great series coming to YouTube sometime in the future as well because of this. So take your hints down below. Also, I'm going to be trying to invest in a new camera for better audio and camera quality. As you guys can tell right now, the camera quality sucks. Please leave a camera down below that you guys think I should buy that has great audio and great video, and it connects to my computer via USB. I can actually just download MP4s right away. So comment down below the best camera I can buy, or at least a camera that I can afford that's actually good enough quality for these videos. So hope you guys all enjoy. I'm probably going to take a day break right now after my live stream to rest up my voice so I can actually do CSGO news episodes. As always, my name is Jake. Remember, I like you. Thank you all for watching. Remember, I like you. Live, love, laugh a lot. Outro. Okay. Goodbye.